Okay, so I'm gonna try and put the spring back in the chain brake and then set it in a position where the cover will go back on. Right now you see where the position of the trigger is. If I move this up, it turns the chain brake on. See it tighten the spring? Well, if I put it back down where the chain brake's off, the spring is going to be completely compressed. So there's really no way to get it in there that I can figure out. So you have to let the chain brake be in the position that would be engaged to give you the most room here. And we're going to take and put the spring in. And then once we get the spring in, of course you wouldn't be able to get the cover on. So we're going to have to turn this assembly, compress the spring, and get it to click in. Now once that's all set, then you can put it back on the saw. So we'll go ahead and give it a try. Take the spring. I'm sure there's some official way to do this, but I don't know what it is. Just a pair of needle nose pliers. We're going to put them right here. Take a bite. Then I'm going to put it up against my vise. Keep my thumb here. Push it in. Okay. Now the spring is in. You see I got my thumb on it. Of course the cover's off, so there's really nothing to keep that spring from flying out of there and shooting you in the eye. So I'm going to take one screw from the little spring cover and just a piece of scrap metal I have laying around. I'm going to put that on top, because what we're going to do is we're going to put a lot of pressure on that spring. I want to have some way of holding it down. It is aluminum, so you want to be careful not to misthread that. Okay. Now all this piece of metal is doing is holding that spring down and holding the brake spring down. You want to make sure you don't lose this little rubber grommet here. So anybody who's fired that spring out of there will know it. You might lose that piece. So now what I'm going to do is rotate this piece such that the spring gets driven back and the mechanism can lock. And to do that, take my fancy tools, use tools how they're supposed to be used, which is any way they need to be used. And I'm going to open them up so I have one point pushing here and one point pushing here. Now you can see that's going to give me the most leverage on that part. And it's kind of goofy, but give it a try here. I'm going to have to put my hand in the way to do this. Okay. So now you can see all I did was turn this assembly this way, and that pushes the spring back into position. And this little piece of metal kept the whole thing from popping out. Now I'm going to get the cover. You can see where the spring goes. I'll take the cover and put that down on top, keeping my thumb on it. Because I don't want to wear this spring. And see it. I don't know if you could see there, but it just wanted to pop out. It didn't get me, but it would have if I hadn't had my hand on it. A couple of these screws in before I take my hand off. Don't want to put it in here because there's one more piece to go on top of that. Which is this little bird here. So maybe we're not going to figure out which way it goes, except it'll only tend to fit in one spot. So that must be the right spot. That's also going to hold the little brake in there well. Give that a touch. Everything looks good. And there you have the assembled piece.